All right. Well, she's here. She is an author, a Bible teacher, a poet, a hip hop artist. She's also a mother to Preston and a mommy to Eden and Autumn. I've got the one and only Jackie Hill Perry in the house. Jackie, good to see you.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. And I got two additional kids, Eden, Autumn, Sage, and August.
Oh, wow. Okay. We got to
Yeah.
update the bio. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Absolutely. You are beyond busy. Yeah,
Go ahead.
right. You are beyond busy. So I know you're on tour right now. Tell us before we jump into because I want to tee this up and help you make an announcement. But before we jump to that, tell us about the tour you're on right now.
Yeah, so me and my husband have a podcast called With the Perrys. And so we're going on a 14 city just podcast tour where we're having conversations about biblical literacy, apologetics, idolatry, discipleship, all the things. So we're in New York today and tomorrow, and we have all four kids with us.
Okay.
So
Good
it's
deal.
a family tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Planes, trains, automobiles, huh?
What, just one bus? Well, two buses. And then we got a dog, a nanny, my mama, and a really good team. So God has been,
Oh,
he's been faithful.
yeah. Praise God for that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, and I hope to see you in New York, by the way. I'm going to head up to New York this afternoon, so hopefully I'll
Oh,
see you
nice.
live. But I wanted to make sure, for the Holy Culture audience, which I would characterize as faithful Christian hip hop listeners, and you've been a part of that fabric for some time. Tell folks what they can expect. What's coming up? What's the announcement?
I mean, well, I've been away from music since 2018 when I was signed with Humble Beast, and I stepped away because I felt like the Lord was creating space for me to teach primarily and write, and that is really that's the thing that gets me going the most. But because I'm taking a break from writing, I have space and room and margin to create music again for a season, and so I've signed a partnership contract with Reach to release some music in the in between time. So it's gonna be a good time.
That's good. You say it so casually. I just did a little contract with Reach. Tell us about if you don't mind. I mean, because you have so many things going on. Like I said in the intro, you're an author, you're a poet, you're a speaker, well regarded, highly respected, great following. What led to you, feeling like you wanted to come back into music, and specifically, what led to you doing it with Reach?
Yeah. So um I've all for the last few years I started to lament that I couldn't create music. Because music is just a big part of who I
Mm,
am. I love like even when I did it with Humble Beast, it was never about touring, it was never about making money. It was always just the art form itself. And so because I couldn't make music, it actually made me sad. And so it was probably a couple months ago where I was just
mm,
processing with the Lord, and I kind of started to feel like he would be okay with and was creating space for me to get back into that again, like I had margin for it. And so Ace, the AR at Reach, went to my church and we connected for the Stay Low remix. And when we connected, I don't know, there's this thing where sometimes when I enter a space or have conversations where there's this nudge where it's like I feel like there's something more to this connection than what
mm.
it might be. So I asked God, I said, Lord, literally, I'm not even guessing. I was like, if you want me to sign with Reach, if that's something that you're cultivating, then make it happen, and he did. And so I think God's
Yeah.
hand is on this. And I think for me, I think Reach puts out quality music. They really do. When you listen to Hovey and 1K Few and Wande and Lecrae and
Yes.
like it's not even just the style, it's the quality, it's the mixing, it's the album artwork,
Yeah.
it's the social media reach that they're able to develop as they do roll out stuff. So to me, I wanted to partner with people who could do stuff in excellent ways, and I think Reach does that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you think about now the creative road that you're on, and the arc of the work and what it might look like, what would you tell people to expect from you in this new season of music?
I think it will sound different. So Art of Joy and Crescendo was more boom bap, more hip hop. And that was because the label I was with, that was kind of their style, right? But I'm from St. Louis, so I grew up listening to, A-Ball, MJG, 3 6 Mafia, Yo Gotti, like, Twista. Like that was the style I grew up on. So if anything, I think I'm gonna make music that reclaims my heritage stylistically, where
Mm,
it feels good.
mm,
But I think I know more now. I've been through more now. And so I think it still will have the depth and
mm-hmm.
the kind of intellectual, lyrical style to it, but it'll have more vibes. I think that's what you can expect.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
More styles, more vibes, maybe a
more
little less
vibes.
boom bap. So for those strictly wed to boom bap, they may need to expand their horizons a little bit.
It'll be in there a little bit, but nah, we getting
Okay.
vibey Jackie.
Yeah, I got you. So, I mean, you haven't been going that long, but I mean, now, when you look at 3 months, so much changes in the world in the course of 3 months. I mean, it's just the way things move. When you
Hmm.
think about re-entering, if that's the right term to use, into the music space, are there any things you contemplate in terms of from a music industry perspective that are top of mind for you?
No, not really. I think to
No.
me, yeah, if anything, I see it as another avenue of influence, right? Like music is such a powerful medium on the mind and the affections and the
Mm,
behavior of people. And so that's really,
mm,
I'm not even thinking about anything other than how can God use this as another avenue by which to renew people's minds about his character and his nature. That's really what I'm on.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple times really, one, you mentioned lamenting, right, as a part of the process and coming back to it. Two, you mentioned even the interaction with Ace and being thoughtful enough to ask God, man, God, what can come out of this? What
Hmm.
should come out of this? What would you advise people do, particularly some of the younger artists coming up, right? I think that look up to you, no doubt, look up to you in terms of how you are spirit led in your work, how you are God led. What are a few simple things you would say? Hey, you know what? I struggle with some of these things too, and maybe as an artist, not paying as much attention. What's helped keep you grounded
Yeah.
in following God's footsteps in your work?
Yeah. I mean, I think I just don't want to do nothing if God isn't with me, you know? And so I think God
Mm,
gives good gifts to people. And there are some of us who have many gifts and many options. Like, I feel like I'm one of those people. I have a lot of
yeah.
options by which to express my creativity. But it was around 2018 when I stepped away from music that I felt like the Lord was like, just because you can do many things, it doesn't mean you can do everything. So I need you to pick, I need you to decide.
Mm,
And I think that took a level of courage and humility to just trust the Lord, you know? And so my
yeah.
word then
Yeah.
for creatives and artists would be, just because you can do everything, he may not create space or open doors for you to do everything all at once all the time, because he knows what's best
Mm,
for us, right? And so for me to step away from music,
yeah.
guess what happened? I was able to produce a lot of books, a lot of literature that God used to help people think well about who he is and all the things. So it's not like
Yeah.
God limits us just because he's a meanie. If anything, he's creating space for us to be more fruitful. And so being intentional on discerning God's will on what gifts we decide to walk in is just important, because if I go around his will
Yeah.
to do what I want to do, I might be out there without his help. And I don't want no parts of that. I need to be out there with
Right.
him as I do
I
stuff
heard
for
that.
him. Period.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah, and I think there's something else you said I don't want to get missed. You said, and you felt you had margin to do it, right? And that's so important. Not only were you prayerful about it, but just also practical about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm on tour, I got a book, we got this podcast that's killing it, I got 4 kids, but you're doing things that create margin for you to do more creative work. And so that's one thing I really love about what you said. And then the second thing, that it works together, right? These things
Mm-hmm.
aren't separate streams necessarily, but they could be a great merging of this work. So
That's good.
so I'm really excited. One other question before we go into this new song of yours. Are there
Mm-hmm.
any potential collaborations you're looking forward to, either on the production side or behind the mic with you?
I'm gonna keep it in my pocket for now, but yeah, I think I have people in mind, but
Okay.
I also, even with my previous albums, I tend to want features. I think of the features after the music is made, because the music, the
Mm,
sound, the vibe, that kind of instructs or influences who I think could like lift this up a certain way. So I got people in my head, but ultimately the music is going to
got
decide
it.
who I call.
Got it. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. So do you typically start with writing kind of writing and having a concept, or do you like the music first, or does it
The
go both
music.
ways? What's your creative
The music
process like?
drives the music drives everything. So, whatever the
Okay.
sound is, if it's melancholy, then that helps like that sparks the lyrics for me. Which then just yeah, so I
Mm,
think however
mm,
me and Ace structure our sessions, that will influence the direction of all the stuff. And I'm super open. Like I don't really have no strong vision per se. I have ideas, but I'm also like, hey, I feel humbled. I ain't did this in a long time. So to me, it's like, let's see what happens. Let's just throw a bunch of stuff on the wall and
mm.
see what we can create from it.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. All right. Well, listen. Before you leave out of here, you have to introduce this first single. Tell everyone about it.
So I like writing freestyles while I'm driving. It's actually very unsafe, but it does something to my mind. I get free. And so I wrote I wrote two verses to something just because I was figuring stuff out, and then we ended up doing the partnership with Reach, and I was like, hey, let's just put out these freestyles, create some beats around it, and that could be the first single. And so the first single is what I call First Draft, which is just a sneak peek of I think the kind of content you'll be receiving.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, y'all, we're gonna jump in the first draft, but before that, hey, just want to thank you for stopping by. I know how crazy it is for you right now. Salute to you, everything you're doing personally, the Perry's podcast. If y'all haven't checked out the podcast, got to go to YouTube channel or Jackie Hill Perry's channel, and you'll get some clips there. Powerful, powerful content. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.